X, Hebrews, purity and becoming one. How do we become pure? We ain't got no choice. We got to turn back to the Most High God and Him alone. This evening, we usually don't go live on Thursday, but I haven't been live all week because a brother been under the weather. But right now, we're going to do a little bit of different live stream than we normally do. We're going to listen to part of this book. And the book is called Living Energy. The book to manipulate vibration. Okay? Like I was telling y'all earlier. Deep, 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 deep science that people don't understand. They call it magic. Vibration is science. Everything on planet Earth vibrates. Like this video on your way in the door. Subscribe to the channel if you're not. And we're gonna give it a few minutes to see if any brews gonna make it up in here so we can listen to this. At least we're gonna listen to part of this book this evening. And when this book is playing, I'm gonna shut my big black mouth. We're gonna listen to it together. Hit the like button on your way in the door as we give it a few minutes to see if any brews gonna come through. Shout out to the 12 tribes scattered abroad into all nations. Hit that like button on your way in the door, Hebrew. We're going to listen to a little bit of this book. And I want to know what y'all think about it. Shout out to all the Hebrew Israelites out there worldwide, scattered in all nations. What's going on, Hebrews? I told y'all to this evening, we're going to do a little bit of different live stream. Y'all know we've been known to do different things around here. Sometimes we'll come on here and we all will watch a video together. Sometimes we'll come on and we'll listen to a lecture or listen to an audio book. Today is one of those days where we're going to kick back and we're going to listen to some of this book. This book is 1 hour and 20 minutes long. I doubt that we're going to be able to listen to it all right now, but maybe we'll do half tonight and another time come back and do a part 2. But I just want to, because I'm not going to lie, I probably listened to like the first minute and a half, if that. But as soon as I seen that title, as soon as I clicked on it, because I understand a little bit about vibrations, right? I know that every single thing on planet Earth, even if it's moving or not, it is vibrating. And that right there, you can call it whatever you want. It's deep science is what it is. But some people would describe that as magical. The fact that you can have a tennis ball just sitting there, not even moving. The fact that you can have a hat or any article of clothing or any object that has been on this earth, even though it's not moving, it is vibrating. Even though it appears to you and I as though nothing is going on. That right there is very scientific, and it's also what some people would call magical. You try telling somebody that a square cube is vibrating and moving, even though it's not moving. But once you really delve deep into it, it's deep science, y'all. And that's why we're going to listen to part of this audio book right here. I want you to hit the like button on your way in the door. Okay? Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And we getting ready to go ahead and get into it. And of course, I'm sure they're going to flag my channel for this one because this content is not my content. But we're going to be listening to the audio from this. And it's pretty, at least the part that I listened to. One second. The first like minute and a half. It was pretty interesting, especially to somebody who's never. You might be somebody you may know absolutely nothing about vibration. When I do these videos, I don't assume that you've heard of whatever we're talking about, because some of us have heard of certain things, some of us haven't. I always know that there are lots of people coming behind us, you, me, whoever you are out there. There are others who are going to be coming behind us. And we can't forget about them. Like, even though we may have let's just say for the sake of example, let's say we're in 5th grade. Let's say we're in 5th grade. We got to remember, there's always our little brothers and sisters, even though they might be older than us. That doesn't matter. I mean, the people who are our people, they're going to be coming behind us. And you don't just wake up in 5th grade. You got to go to kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, and so forth. So even though we in whatever grade we in, I don't even know what grade we in. I'm just using 5th grade as an example. We got to remember that we got brothers and sisters coming behind us. They in 1st grade, 2nd grade. And we cannot forget about them. So sometimes we may have to go over things a lot. But you know what? That's called love. It's called patience. And understand this. I want to say it's Isaiah 52:8. Now watchmen will sing together, lift up their voice, I want to say, paraphrasing, because they're going to see eye to eye when Yahweh brings again Zion. Yahweh has not brought again Zion yet. So that means Isaiah 52:8 is in full effect. We're not going to agree on everything until that day. But we still can talk to each other and actually try to explain each other's stance, of course, in a respectful way, because we are actually God's chosen people. We're not idolaters. We serving the Most High God and Him only. We waking up in these end times in our captivity. It is actually our job to actually show other people out there how it's done, how you can disagree with somebody and still be very respectful. Okay, it's only certain things that we can't disagree on, and that's serving any other God other than Yahweh. Any kind of anything that you're going to be doing, I don't care what it is. If it's spiritual, it better be in the name of Yahweh. Believe it or not, y'all, that makes a world of difference, y'all. Whose name you're doing, whatever you're doing. Like this video on your way in the door, and we're going to get into some of this book. Fair use, even though I know they already struck the child.
In a world where everything vibrates, everything breathes, everything pulses with an invisible frequency, there exists an ancient knowledge, hidden for centuries, reserved only for those brave enough to peer beyond the veil. Living energy is not just a book. It is a secret key, a mystical code that unlocks the doors to a reality many sense, but few truly understand. Inspired by the sacred writings and esoteric wisdom of Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, this audiobook does more than inform you. It transforms you. Prepare to dive into the mysteries of vibration. You will discover how thought shapes matter, how intention directs energy, and how you can awaken your inner power to reshape your surroundings, your body, and your destiny. This is no ordinary journey. It is a voyage into the depths of the soul and the heights of consciousness, because those who master vibration master life. Before form existed, thought vibrated. Before thought arose, will pulsed, and within the will, without desire, slept the seed of all worlds. Thus begins this treatise, not written for the mind that seeks to understand, but for the soul that remembers. It is not a manual of techniques to achieve, nor a collection of ideas to analyze. It is a vibrational architecture whose sole purpose is to reveal to the reader their condition as a primordial emitter. Because the human being was not born to receive, he was forged to project. What you call reality is a solidified projection of your inner images. The matter surrounding you is the geometric reflection of your vibrational field, not what you occasionally think, but what you continuously sustain from your core. That which vibrates even in your silence, that which you emit even in denial, that which you project even as you sleep. This work does not seek to convince you of this, it simply declares it. Because that which is eternal does not need to be proven, it only needs to be remembered. The secret wisdom known by all true initiates, from the Vedic rishis to the Chaldean philosophers, from the Kabbalists of the desert to the guardians of the White Mountain, never taught that reality is attracted. It taught that reality is emitted, the difference is absolute. The first waits, the second creates, the first begs, the second commands. What this treatise offers is the internal map of the hidden architect who sleeps within you, the emitter you were before you incarnated, the projector who never stopped creating, even when you believed otherwise. Here you will not find inspiration, you will find decree. You will not find comfort, you will find power. You will not find formulas to please the universe. You will find the certainty that you are that universe in its densest and most forgotten form. Each chapter of this book is structured like a staircase, not a climb of emotional highs, but a reconstitution of vibration. You are not here to accumulate knowledge. You are here to dismantle ignorance. And ignorance is not the absence of data. It is the forgetting of your vibrational identity. You will remember within these pages that you do not think, you shape, that you do not desire, you emit, that you do not affirm, you project, that you do not create with the rational mind, but with the coherent frequency that sustains your atmosphere. And if that frequency is pure, the universe has no choice. It must obey. This is not a metaphor. It is the law. I have not come to bring you theories. I have come to return you to your function. Are you willing to abandon the inherited image of who you thought you were? Are you ready to stop asking and start emitting? Are you prepared to cease searching for external signs and begin generating internal causes? Then open this treatise, not to read, but to remember. Because everything you are living, right now in this very moment, was already thought by you, already felt by you, already commanded by you. And the time has come to make it conscious. The Silent Emitter, a treatise on vibration and reality, based on the teachings of Helena Blavatsky. We've noticed that over 80% of those who visit our channel are not subscribed. You can support this project by pressing the subscribe button and giving this video a like. Thank you for inspiring us to continue creating more and better content for you. Are you ready to transform your life? Chapter 1. On vibration as the cause of form. Everything that exists is the freezing of an internal emission. Form is solidified vibration. There is nothing in the visible, audible, or tangible universe that was not first vibration. And there is no vibration when sustained with intensity and coherence that does not become form. This axiom, understood only by initiates of the sacred schools, whether in the Orphic mysteries, the temples of Ten Mamenes, or the caves of Tibetan bodhisattvas, constitutes the cornerstone of the sacred art of manifestation. All is vibration, but not all vibration is creative. Only that which is held with awakened will and stabilized emotion acquires the degree of densification needed to penetrate the subtle layers of the universal field and sculpt within it a visible architecture. The universe does not create by chance, it creates by resonance. And if the world responds to who you are, it is not because the world listens to you, but because you emit it. Matter is nothing but energy whose frequency has been slowed down by the persistence of the thought that originated it. The density of things is merely the age of their vibration. That which is sustained long enough takes form. For this reason, all that you experience is not the result of a foreign and that which is below is like that which is above, to accomplish the miracles of one single thing. That one thing is none other than the central vibration of the soul, which when sustained gives birth to form, to stars, to passions, and to destinies. He who does not vibrate consciously, vibrates by habit. And what vibrates by habit projects repeated worlds. Most human beings do not live, they recycle. They do not create, they imitate inherited fields. They do not project from their essence, they reproduce from the shadow. Every vibrational pattern that is not observed becomes inertial form. This is why experiences repeat, why relationships recycle, why the same failures return, why empty successes echo again. Because the sleeping soul continues to emit the image it was programmed with, either in childhood or in previous incarnations. And the obedient universe does not respond to conscious requests, but to constant vibration. Magic does not lie in desire, it lies in sustainment, not in imagining. but in emitting with an intensity that matches the core of certainty. Thought is the first architect, emotion is the builder, and will is the guardian of format. Do you understand? Then know this. There is no matter that was not once vibration. There is no vibration that was not emitted from some conscious being. And there is no form that is not an echo of a sustained frequency. The universe is vibrational. Life is a mirror. You are not a mere observer, you are a generator. Chapter 2. Thought as a vibrational unit. Not every idea creates, only the one sustained with emotional fire. The mind, as the architect, becomes unified in this truth. There is nothing more underestimated in the profane world than thought, and nothing more closely guarded by the initiate than the very act of thinking. For what the unawakened call a spontaneous function of the brain, ephemeral, weightless, inconsequential, is, in truth, the primary instrument by which the soul projects, directs, and alters both visible and invisible reality. Each thought is a vibrational unit, and as such a seed of form, a spark of architecture. But this unit is not defined by the logical content of the idea, nor by its elegant formulation, not even by its symbolic beauty. It is defined only by its frequency, and that frequency is born from a precise alliance between three centers: the thinking mind, the feeling heart, and the sustaining will. When these three are in harmony, the thought becomes creative. When they contradict each other, the thought dissolves, disperses, or becomes an agent of confusion. So taught the Egyptian hierophants in their sealed schools. Thought becomes closed geometry only when the fire of the heart feeds it, and the spear of will directs it. And the Vedic Brahmins affirmed, Manas without bhakti is ashes without flame, but Manas with bhakti and tapas becomes the fire that gives birth to worlds. This must be clearly understood. To think is not merely to imagine, and thinking in its occult sense is to emit a coherent frequency that configures the ether and compels it to take shape. But this coherence is not a passive condition. It is the result of inner training, emotional alchemy, and vibrational discipline. Because thought does not arise from the intellect. It is born from the monad and descends through the planes. And if in that descent it encounters contradiction, it fragments. It weakens. This is why in most human beings thoughts do not create, they dissolve. This is why affirmations fail, decrees fall flat, and visualizations don't materialize. Because the mind emits one signal, but the emotion emits another. And where there is duality, there is no creation, only dissonance. For thought to function as an effective vibrational unit, it must meet three conditions. First, conceptual clarity, which arises from a disciplined mind, free of noise, capable of holding an image without being scattered by useless associations or underlying fears. Second, emotional strength, which comes from an aligned heart, able to feel the idea as real, charging it with vital energy, infusing it with vibrational intensity. Third, voluntary direction, which stems from the center of being and gives the thought a firm, unwavering, unambiguous trajectory. These three forces form what the ancient schools called the generating triangle. When an idea is born from that triangle, the ether responds instantly. The image begins to attract subtle forms. It takes shape as a vibrational pattern, and then, if sustained, it passes through the veils until it becomes part of the physical plane. That is authentic creation. Now, the ordinary human mind is not unified. It lives fragmented. It emits fleeting thoughts filled with contradiction. It thinks one thing, feels another, desires a third, and acts under a fourth force it doesn't even recognize. This disassociation is the norm in post-Atlantean humanity, whose higher faculties were veiled by the vibrational fall of its races. That is why true spiritual work does not begin in religion or morality. It begins in the unification of the mind. For only a unified mind can become an architect of the field. Life is expensive. Tools don't.
Tav X Hebrews. Good to see y'all in here. We taking in the good audio book. We're not going to listen to it all because it's just too long to do in one night. Aviyah says Shalom at Mr. Real Talk and Miss Paka. Barakas and welcome to all of you. Tav X. Earth Healing Angel says Shalom, Mr. Real Talk. Shalom to you, Earth Healing Angel. And could y'all please do what she asked y'all to do? Thank you for your attendance and support, family. Please hit the like, share, subscribe, and notification bell for updates. Thank y'all for being here. We get back to the audio book. Listen up, fam.
A unified mind is not a silent mind. It is a coherent one. It may entertain many thoughts, but all aligned in the same sequence. It may move in many directions, but always from a common center. And that center is not logic nor reason. It is the base vibration of the soul. This is why the ancient sages did not think as we do. They visualized and felt each thought as if it had already occurred. And so they projected it, not with effort, but with alignment. They knew thought is not a desire, it is a hidden verb. And like every verb...
Hey, fam, if y'all in here right now, put a 1 in the chat or a fire emoji if y'all can hear right now. Can y'all hear this broadcast or can y'all not? Because from my side, I really can't tell. It's looking like it's up in the air. Let me know in the chat. Can y'all hear? Before I even keep playing. 5, Earth Healing Angel. Okay, good looking, Earth Healing Angel. Appreciate that, fam. Appreciate it. We back to it.
When pronounced in the inner temple of the soul, it becomes a command to the ether.
Appreciate that,
Creative
Avia.
thought, then, is not a spontaneous
y'all is
function.
good.
It is a vibrational ritual. It is
appreciate y'all giving that. Let me back it up for a second. Appreciate y'all letting me know y'all can hear. We back at it.
Already occurred. And so they projected it, not with effort, but with alignment. They knew thought is not a desire, it is a hidden verb. And like every verb, when pronounced in the inner temple of the soul, it becomes a command to the ether. Creative thought, then, is not a spontaneous function. It is a vibrational ritual. It is not enough to think something repeatedly. You must think it from your center, feel it as true, hold it without interruption, and never contradict it with opposing emotions or incoherent actions. Only then does the vibrational unit remain stable and begin to attract the elements that resonate with its manifestation. This is why unconscious thoughts are dangerous, because they too emit, they vibrate, they create, not because they are directed with intention, but because they are sustained without interruption. Chronic fear is a sustained thought. Doubt is a thought disguised as prudence. Resentment is a thought charged with painful memory, and all of this becomes structural patterns in the energy field, which then shapes the experiences of life. Therefore, it is not what you consciously think that creates your world. It is what you constantly vibrate without observation. And that too is thought, deep thought installed at the foundation of your identity. The mind is the potter of the soul, but it does not work alone. It needs emotion as fire and will as the mold. This is why the true magician does not think with the head. He thinks with his whole being, and his thought becomes creation. Learn then to think again, not as the world teaches, but as the initiates have always done. From the center, with clear emotion, with intention that knows no fracture. And remember, one single thought sustained with fire is worth more than 1,000 scattered ideas. For one true thought is a command given to the universe. And the universe, being vibration, responds to the one who vibrates with truth. Chapter 3. The word as an instrument of configuration. Language is not expression. It is programming of the field. Since the dawn of truly inspired civilizations, not mere social organizations improperly called cultures, the word was understood not as a means of communication, but as a causal force. One did not speak to inform, one spoke to configure. Words were not uttered to express emotions, but to organize the elements. The word, in its hidden sense, is not a symbol.
Whoa. I said I wasn't going to interrupt, but I had to back that up. Did y'all hear what he said?
One did not speak to inform, one spoke to configure. Words were not uttered to express emotions, but to organize the elements.
Did you hear that? Deep science that people don't understand. I'm going to play that back again.
Communication, but as a causal force. One did not speak to inform, one spoke to configure. Words were not uttered to express emotions, but to organize the elements. The word, in its hidden sense, is not a symbol of thought. It is the vibrational mold that determines the course of events. When it is said, "In the beginning was the word," it does not refer to an anthropomorphic deity declaiming into the void. It speaks of the conscious vibration self-emitted by the Logos, the living archetype of all that is to be. The word is not human speech. It is a vibratory emission imbued with intention, sustained by will, and charged with coherent emotional force. The ancient Chaldean priests, custodians of this truth, practiced what they called dictum conditum, the act of pronouncing words from a specific vibrational state, knowing that sound emitted from inner coherence alters the arrangement of subtle atoms in the etheric plane.
That is deep, 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 deep science right there. But what? People call it magic because you couldn't fathom the kind of world that you live in. But you can fathom going to school as a child, and you had a class called spelling. You heard what the guy said? People were speaking words, certain people, not to convey feelings or emotions, but to configure and to take control and rearrange the elements. Who do y'all think they got this from, y'all? Joshua talking to the elements, talking to the sun. Uncle Moses doing things with the sun, moon, hail from the sky, blood in the water. Those are elements, y'all. Do y'all hear this? And I'm going to shut my big black mouth. I'm really not going to say nothing else, but it's really, I'm just blown away by this, y'all. Heavy.
Each word was a command, each vowel a key, each phoneme a vibrational gateway to a possible reality. And here is where modern man, having degraded language to the level of triviality, has lost his creative power. He believes that to speak is to describe, that to declare is to emote. But in the hidden world, everything spoken, even without faith, vibrates, and what vibrates configures. Thus, the human being, without knowing it, is constantly shaping his field through his words, even if they are foolish, empty, or automatic.
Wow.
Every word spoken with emotional intensity becomes an instruction. It is not the logic of the discourse that matters, but its vibratory charge. The universe does not respond to semantic content. It responds to the emitted pattern. When you say, I can't, even in jest, you're writing a vibrational line into your field that blocks certain potentialities. When you say, this always happens to me, you are carving a resonant circuit that, through repetition, becomes dense, becomes form. The secret scriptures of the desert, passed down among the monks of the Circle of Amu, predating the Abrahamic degeneration, proclaimed, each word is a seal, each seal is a form, and each form remains until it is rewritten. This is why the great initiates guarded their words, as a priest tends the fire on the altar. They did not speak idly. They did not comment unnecessarily. They did not name without cause, because they knew, once the word is spoken, it cannot be retrieved. It continues vibrating. It continues acting. It continues shaping until a higher, purer, more coherent word replaces it.
Wow.
Language is spiritual technology. Every word is a vibrational artifact. It alters the field, refine. They did not name without cause, because they knew, once the word is spoken, it cannot be retrieved. It continues vibrating. It continues acting. It continues shaping until a higher, purer, more coherent word replaces it. Language is spiritual technology. Every word is a vibrational artifact. It alters the field, refines it or contaminates it. Repetition fixes it. Emotion amplifies it. Contradiction destroys it. Just as there are foods that nourish and others that poison, so too are there words that elevate and words that intoxicate. This is why in ancient temples the apprentice would pass through a vow of silence, not as punishment, but as purification. For until he had mastered his internal vibration, everything that emerged from his mouth would be a flawed construction, a distorted emission, a dangerous interference in the fabric of reality. The outer language reveals the inner one, and the inner language is the true cause of the energy field. So beyond what you say aloud, it matters what you say to yourself, not what you declare in public, but what you murmur in your mind when no one is listening. Because that murmured thought, repeated again and again, becomes your base pattern, and that pattern is what configures your destiny. In the veiled texts of the Zohar, at the heart of true hidden Kabbalah, it is taught, the name hides the form, and what is named takes place in the world. To name in this science is not to categorize, it is to give vibrational existence. What you name, you fix. What you do not name dominates you from the shadows. So if you name your wound, you give it form. And if you give it form, you can work with it. But if you hide it, it will continue to emit from your field without your awareness, and it will draw in whatever resonates with it. The name in its esoteric sense is the vibrational formula of a thing. To name is to create. To name is to give body in the subtle field. This is why the Magi of old did not speak their true desires until they had aligned them with the pure fire of will. And it is also why the secret names of the gods were guarded beneath 7 seals, because to know the true name of an entity is to wield power over its vibration, just as to speak your true name from the soul is to summon your higher self and give it form. Now you understand, language is not trivial. Every phrase spoken carelessly is an unconscious act of creation. Every expression of doubt, hatred, or weakness generates a vibration that shapes the environment, not as punishment but in fidelity, because the universe does not respond to your intention, it responds to your emission. Want to change your reality, change your word, and want to escape the cycle, change your narrative, want to radiate power, speak from the center because the center does not lie, and what is emitted from the center creates without interference. This is why true silence is not the absence of words, it is the presence of vibration. And the true word is not a mental declaration, but geometric fire emitted from coherence. Refine your word and purify your speech, and speak little, but speak from the soul, and what you say will become law. Chapter 4, From Mental Image to Material. Pattern, visualization as a geometry of resonance. What is seen within arranges what is outside. Before the universe existed as measurable space, before time vibrated in cycles, and before substance crystallized into form, all was unmanifested image, vibration in potential, geometry in a state of pre-being. And that first image, upheld from the incombustible absolute, projected itself onto the plane of manifestation as cosmos, as law, as structure. This is why every visible creation is the result of an archetypal image, held with intensity, with will, and with purity. Visualization, in its deepest and most sealed meaning, is not fantasy, nor a method of self-suggestion, as the emotionally driven materialists would believe. It is not a psychological tool. It is the hidden act by which the being, aligned with its vibrational center, projects an internal figure onto the etheric field. And this figure, when held with unwavering faith, begins to mold the astral substance and finally condense into the physical world. This image need not be logical or detailed. It must be coherent, vibrationally pure, and sustained with certainty. The mistake of the modern being, lost among techniques of affirmation and emotionally charged desires, is to visualize from lack, to project from urgency, to create from hunger. But no image born of lower desire can form stable reality, because lower desire is unstable vibration, crossed frequencies, chaotic patterns. Only the soul, when it remembers its original state, can perceive an image with the power to create without distortion. Visualization is not imagining what one wants. Visualization is remembering what is already true on another plane. An effective image is not invented, it is evoked. The ancient sages of the Black Desert, heirs of a degenerated Atlantean tradition and hidden in the caves of Libya, would say, "You will not see what you desire, you will see what vibrates with you." And in the non-canonical writings of the Gospel of Philip, attributed to the deepest Gnostic circles, it is written, "He who sees not from fullness prolongs the void, but he who sees from being projects the form." Every internal image is a vibratory geometry, and every geometry, held in resonance, brings order. A mental image is not just a visual thought, it is a frequency, a pattern, a living structure inscribed in the energetic field. And this structure, if coherent with the core of your vibrational identity, begins to reorganize your surroundings to manifest itself. But if it is incompatible, if you vibrate fear, doubt, or contradiction, the image dissolves, rebounds, or creates confusion. This is the true art of visualization, not to imagine with force, but to remember with certainty. Not to project from hunger, but to sustain from identity. An image creates not by its emotional intensity in the moment, but by its vibrational stability. The longer you hold an image without distorting it with doubts, fears, or conflicting desires, the more clearly it begins to shape the field around you. This is the true alchemy of thought form, to turn an inner vision into a solid pattern in the outer world, not through effort, but through persistence. This is why the initiates of the White Valley, descendants of the solar lineage from Tibet before its isolation, taught their disciples to carry the image in their chest, not in their forehead. because the image retained only by the mind fragments, but the image held with body, emotion, and unified will inscribes itself into the ether as a vibratory decree. Understand this. Every visualization is an energetic architecture. Every mental image is an order to the quantum field. Every shape you see within yourself, if sustained, begins to organize the elements around you to make itself real. But beware, not all images create beauty. The same applies to forms distorted by trauma, the recurring scenes of failure, the memories of pain sustained by fear. These too are visualizations, though unconscious. They are geometries and they shape the field. Many live chaotic lives not because they want to, but because they unknowingly project chaotic images. The soul does not distinguish between what you voluntarily envision and what you repeatedly tolerate. If you hold an image with your attention, you are feeding it. If you repeat it without correcting it, you are solidifying it. And once it becomes solid, you will live it. That is why the true magician's first task is not to project new images, but to purify the old ones, to deprogram inherited images, to destroy mental forms that no longer represent the soul's truth. And once the field has been cleansed, to begin projecting with geometric clarity. The later Hermetic texts, especially the Libera Hermetis, attributed to Fosimo of Panopolis, state, "See not with the eye that desires, but with the eye that gives form. For he who desires imagines from emptiness, but he who gives form remembers from fullness." In the Sufi manuscripts of the Al-Qira lineage, it was taught that each soul possesses an inner mirror, a vibratory surface where every authentic image is reflected without distortion. The initiate's task was to clean that mirror of emotional dust and foreign doctrines until the internal vision matched the external reality. When that happened, the world could not resist. It had to align. Visualization then is not manipulation of reality. It is revelation. It is not interference with the external. It is alignment with what already vibrates in another dimension. If that alignment is pure, the field responds. If it is false, it collapses. True visualization is an act of vibrational humility. It does not demand. It does not beg. It simply sees from truth and waits in silence. So practice. Close your eyes. Do not think. Evoke an image that represents what your soul already knows. Do not decorate it. Do not force it, and just feel it, as if it were already familiar. Then breathe within it. Walk with it. Sleep with it. Make that image your new atmosphere, and the obedient world will rearrange itself. Because you do not create what you desire. You create what you can clearly and consistently see, and every pure image becomes form. For the geometry of the soul is law, and what you see from the soul, the universe manifests without exception, without delay, and without error. Chapter 5. The emitter and the projector of vibrational identity. You do not attract what you desire. You attract what you sustain without contradiction. The universe does not respond to your wishes. It responds to your emission. And your emission does not come from what you think on the surface, nor from the words you repeat aloud, not even from the things you imagine with enthusiasm. Your true emission is born from the vibrational identity you inhabit in silence. It comes from the hidden frequency that pulses within you when you are not acting, not affirming, not asking. You are not a passive magnet waiting for the world to give you what you need. You are an active projector, shaping the world around you second by second, according to the pattern you hold within your field. The world is not something offered to you. You mold it. And you do not mold it with intention, but with coherence, because what manifests is not what you want, but what you are vibrationally. What happens to you is not punishment, it is return. It is not a mistake, it is a mirror. It is not external interference, it is sustained emanation. So taught the true masters of the primordial tradition, masters from schools long extinguished, veiled behind names the common mind never came to know. In the oldest annals of the Zohar, in the fragments of the Sefer Be'er, in the lost diagrams of the school of Yin, and in the esoteric teachings of Mithra, the same truth echoes again and again. The world is projection, not as a symbol, not as a metaphor, but as a literal fact. Every figure, every event, every relationship that endures in your life is a form projected from the field of your vibrational identity. And this identity is not your name. It is not your personal story. It is not your opinion of yourself. It is the frequency your soul carries like an unspoken melody, a tone that comes before every word you say. This is why two people can desire the same thing and get completely opposite results, Because what separates them is not willpower, but the field sustaining that desire. If the desire is a flower, identity is the soil, and the universe does not respond to the flower. It responds to the kind of earth it was planted in. So the essential question is not, what do I want? But from what identity am I wanting? Because if you desire prosperity from a vibrational identity of lack, you will project obstacles. If you long for love from a vibrational identity of unworthiness, you will summon abandonment. If you seek health from a vibrational identity of devaluation, you will attract exhaustion. Not because you deserve it, but because you're sustaining it without realizing it. This is what the ancients called the hidden name. Every soul carries a vibrational name that expresses its true internal state. And this name, this frequency, not a word, is what the universe obeys. In the higher teachings of Kabbalah, the true work is not about changing circumstances, but about changing the name. Because to change the name is to change the emission, and to change the emission is to change reality. The modern seeker's mistake is trying to attract what they desire without modifying what they emit. They want peace but vibrate anxiety. They want freedom but emit fear. They want abundance but carry an identity built on effort, sacrifice, or self-sabotage. So their field is divided, and what is divided cannot manifest. Because, as was already said, the quantum field does not respond to intention. It responds to coherence. Therefore, the work is not to wish harder, but to reconfigure the emitter. And the emitter is your vibrational identity. Not the one you declare, but the one you carry. The one reflected in your posture, in your breath, and in your silence, in how you walk into a room, in how you receive a word, and in how you look and how you listen. All of that is vibration. All of that is emission. And the universe doesn't care about your phrases. It aligns with your tone. Want to know your vibrational identity? Don't analyze, observe. What pattern repeats in your life? What kinds of events or relationships keep returning? What energy do others feel when you're present? What message vibrates in your body when no one is watching? There lies your name. There lies your true emission. And until that frequency changes, nothing profound can be transformed. You can change cities, partners, careers, habits, beliefs. But if you don't change your vibrational identity, what comes back to you will always be the same, dressed in different forms. Vibrational identity cannot be altered with empty affirmations. It transforms through conscious practice, by inhabiting a new frequency, not as a mask, not as a mental strategy, but as a deep alignment of emotion, thought, body, and will. This was the practice of the silent magicians of the Antares school, whose existence faded with the fall of the last Syrian temple. They would choose equality, not a desire, but a frequency, and sustain it for days, weeks, even years. They didn't talk about it, they embodied it. They walked as if they already were it. They breathed as if they were already living it. And in time, the world could not help but reshape itself in their image, because they no longer emitted the old name. They had embodied another, do you understand? It is not what you seek that determines your life. It is what you project from your vibrational name. You are not what you declare. You are not what you desire. You are what you carry when you are silent. And that the universe cannot ignore, so practice. Choose a frequency, an identity you long to inhabit. Feel it, not as aspiration, but as memory. Ask yourself, how would the being who already vibrates in this frequency walk? How would they breathe? How would they look, listen, endure, and release? Then inhabit that frequency for 1 hour. Not as performance, but as a vibrational experiment. Observe what happens and repeat, because the world does not respond to your story, it responds to your name. And if you change your name, everything that happens to you will change with it. Not by miracle, by correspondence, not by external intervention, but by resonance. You are the emitter, you are the projector, and your life is the material pattern of what you have sustained. Until now. Chapter 6. Doubt as inverted magic. Double thinking creates distortion in your emission. It is inverted magic. Every vibrational emission that arises purely and is held steadily becomes architecture of the world. But if that emission is infused with an invisible, contradictory, doubtful frequency, the resulting pattern is not nullified. It is distorted. This distortion is the root of what, in true esoteric science, is called inverted magic. Doubt, from the common perspective, seems harmless, just a sign of caution or rationality. But from the perspective of the emitter, doubt is energetic dissonance. It is a vibrational virus that fractures the field and forces it to emit in opposing directions. Just as a detuned string ruins a symphony, sustained doubt, however silent, breaks the coherent projection and produces a reversed echo. There is no neutral thought, no word without charge, no emotion without consequence. Every emission, no matter how small, leaves a trace in the fabric of the field. Doubt is not just insecurity. It is a contradictory command given to the universe. Every time you desire something but accompany it with fear, suspicion, or a "what if it doesn't happen?" you are fragmenting the vibrational instruction, and the universe, who responds only to coherence, receives a broken command. The universe does not punish this fracture. It reflects it. It gives you exactly the distortion you emitted, and thus arise half-realities, diluted results, ambiguous relationships, and broken paths, not because the universe withholds your desire, but because you cannot clearly receive what you emit ambiguously. The Egyptian magicians who served in the inner circles of the temples of Karnak understood this well. The first lesson for any initiate was not to invoke, but to hold a vibration without fracture. They knew a divided thought is like a split arrow in flight. It never reaches its mark. In the Gospel of Truth, attributed to the Valentinian Gnostics, it is written, "He who believes without union is divided, and what is divided cannot remain." This teaching, though theological in appearance, is actually energetic law. What is not held as a single vibration cannot remain in manifestation. If your emotion says yes, but your body hesitates, if your thought affirms, but your words deny, if your intention proclaims, but your actions sabotage, then your field emits multiple signals at once, and the result is manifest incoherence. The hidden schools called this internal fracture the shadow of double thought. It is not mere hesitation. It is the inversion of creative energy. Every sustained thought becomes invocation, and if that thought is contaminated by a conflicting frequency, what you invoke is not creation, but suspension, dissolution, or a return to chaos. In the Mutus Liber, the silent book of the alchemists, the adept is shown contemplating two intertwined serpents, one of light, one of darkness. At his feet, a flower that does not bloom. The inscription reads, "Double fire, double death." The message is clear. Contradictory energy prevents creation from blooming. Where there is crossed thought, where there are declarations without faith, where there are mechanical affirmations with no emotional backing, there is no possible alchemy. Here lies the root of inverted magic, when you affirm one thing but vibrate another, when you decree aloud but your emotional field emits the opposite, when you visualize with desire but cannot hold certainty. You are practicing magic, yes, but inverted magic. You are not creating the result you want, you are feeding its opposite. Doubt is not just a mental state, it is a vibrational command. And the universe, as a faithful field, does not judge. It reflects. Give it ambiguity, it gives back ambiguity. Give it certainty, it gives back form. Hold a divided pattern, and it returns a pattern of chaos. The ancient sages of Anatolia, in the lost tradition of the inner eye circle, taught that double thinking was the greatest enemy of the mage. Not because it was an external force, but because it was an internal fracture. They used to say, there is no demon more effective than the echo of yes mixed with no. Because that echo does not just prevent manifestation. It generates energy structures that perpetuate confusion. How is doubt neutralized? Not through repression, not through mental struggle, but through vibrational substitution. You must make visible what was hidden, name the doubt, pull it from the body, identify the pattern, then choose a new frequency, not as escape, but as sustained decision. This requires a practice that is not emotional, but geometric. It is not about feeling better. It is about aligning every plane of being into a single emission. Thought, emotion, word, body, intention, all saying the same thing. Only then is there a unified field. Only from that field can creation occur, so practice the art of coherent emission. Choose a true affirmation. Feel whether your body accepts or resists it. Notice if a voice in your mind immediately rejects it. Identify that rejection, name it. Do not flee, do not judge. Then rewrite the phrase from a deeper place, and hold that new emission for hours, days, weeks, without fracture, without contradiction. Only then can the universe offer you a precise creation. Remember, doubt is not prudence, it is distortion. It is not awareness, it is fracture. And where there is fracture, there can be no stable form. The universe responds to clarity, and clarity is what the soul becomes when it has stopped arguing with itself. Chapter 7. The field as the soul's record. Your energetic atmosphere never stops. Everything is recorded. Everything returns. Just as the ancient scribe carved the decrees of the pharaohs onto stone tablets, so too does the soul imprint every one of its emissions onto the invisible fabric that surrounds it. And this fabric is not metaphorical. It is a real, sensitive, and structured field whose purpose is not to protect the soul as a barrier, but to register, emit, and reflect every frequency it has held within. The sages of Akasha called it the garment of light. Syrian seers referred to it as the cloak of return, and the Atlantean initiates named it the ring of the mirror. This field is not governed by rational consciousness. It is shaped by sustained emotional frequency, repeated vibration over time, the dominant tone of one's deep identity. Every recurring thought, every tolerated emotion, every word spoken with intention, every image visualized with belief. This is energy inscribed. It does not vanish. It is not forgotten. It is stored. And from that storage, the resonant structure we later call life begins to take form. The field does not judge. The field does not discern between what you want and what you fear, between what you love and what you avoid, between what you desire and what you reject. It simply records what you hold and mirrors it back. Then, as an obedient reflection of the energy it receives, it returns it in the form of circumstances, encounters, repetitions, synchronicities, and silences. There is no randomness, only feedback. So when you believe something is already resolved because you've stopped consciously thinking about it, but you haven't cleared it vibrationally, it returns, not as punishment, but as an unresolved echo. What hasn't been transmuted in the field remains suspended, and the suspended seeks manifestation to be completed. When the soul incarnates, it doesn't just inherit a physical body, it carries with it a vibrational field that doesn't begin in this life. That field is the sum of all frequencies sustained in other incarnations, and also the result of all present vibrational emissions. This field is not composed of memories, but of... I'm a single mom.
Checking in, Hebrews. Okay, we're going to finish up this chapter that we in right here. And as always, look, I didn't write this book. We listening to this book, okay? Chew in the meat, spit out the bones. You know what can be used and what can't be used. You know, a lot of this ancient information that they say came from here, came from there. Some of that's true, but a lot of this information, believe it or not, it came from Solomon. A lot of this information came from other Israelites, period. Nobody out there had more information and knowledge than the Israelites. But because we went off, as they say, we ended up where we are today. So don't let these people fool you, all these Brahmins and all this other stuff. The Hebrews are the real Brahmins. The nations have stolen a little bit of our lands. All the nations, for the most part, have stolen our land, stolen our knowledge, stolen a little bit of our heritage and claimed it for themselves. Put all kind of information in other books, like the very person who authored this book right here. I know for a fact that this lady, she didn't discover this information. She's parroting what was already there, just like many of these people are, okay? We the children of the Most High God. When you serve Yahweh and him only, that is the beginning. These people don't know that, of course. The beginning to unlocking any kind of spiritual power, you got to turn to the Most High God and him alone and do your best to keep his commandments. If you're not doing that, the stuff that we be talking about, it's not really going to do you any good. But also, even unconsciously, a lot of this stuff on here is true, whether you know it or not. We've been building our lives with our thoughts all our lives, whether you understood it or not. That's why one of the goals of this book writer is to make the subconscious conscious, like so that you understand you're already doing this. You've been doing it your whole life. Everything is about vibration. This ain't no spooky stuff. This ain't no witchcraft. This is literal science. Everything is about vibration, even your very thoughts. The universe, the galaxy, invisible matter can feel your thoughts. They lie to you about what kind of world you live in, y'all.
Just live in it. They shape it. They tune or body. It carries with it a vibrational field that doesn't begin in this life. That field is the sum of all frequencies sustained in other incarnations, and also the result of all present vibrational emissions. This field is not composed of memories, but of patterns. Patterns that don't just live in it, they shape it, they tune or cloud it. And from that structure, the soul attracts its experiences. This is how the Hermetists of Upper Egypt taught. He who does not cleanse his field will repeat his story. He who transmutes his emission organizes his destiny. There is no such thing as a new life if the field continues to vibrate with old configurations, because the field is more loyal than memory. And until there is a conscious vibrational reprogramming, the soul will walk in circles, calling evolution what is actually repetition. Understand this. The field is dynamic but not spontaneous. It responds to your emission, but it does not invent it. It does not make decisions. It merely returns what has been held. If you've been emitting fear for years and only tried to think positively for a few weeks, the field will still resonate with that pattern of fear, not out of cruelty, but out of vibrational loyalty. Because everything emitted is recorded, and what is recorded seeks form. Thus the soul becomes the sculptor of its existence, and the field, the marble on which its vibrations carve their shape. A moment of clarity is not enough. That clarity must be sustained until the field is fully rewritten. The field does not respond to brief impulses. It responds to permanence, and it is in permanence that true transformation occurs. This was known by the guardians of the schools of light in Tartaria, who taught that to alter a recorded pattern in the field, it was necessary to hold a new frequency for 42 days without interruption. Intention was not enough. One had to inhabit the new vibration, like one lives in a new home, like one puts on a new garment. Only what is sustained can reprogram. The energetic atmosphere you carry is your deepest reality. Not what you think, not what you do, not what you declare, but what you emanate without realizing it, when everything is silent, when no one is watching, when judgment is absent. That is your vibrational truth, and that truth is what configures the events of your life. You want to change your reality. Don't change your actions first. Change your atmosphere. Change your field. How is this done? Start by observing. What emotion inhabits your body the most without your awareness? What thought repeats the most, even in silence? What inner images do you sustain without noticing? Then choose an opposite frequency, but tune your soul, not by force, but by memory, because the field responds more strongly to what it remembers than to what it learns. If you vibrated fear, begin to emit trust. If you vibrated scarcity, begin to emit sufficiency. If you vibrated guilt, begin to emit forgiveness, but don't declare it, live it. Make it your atmosphere, hold that frequency for hours, days, weeks, and the field, in its obedience, will begin to return it. Because the field doesn't negotiate, it doesn't interpret, it doesn't wait, it only reflects. Everything you once vibrated left a trace, everything you sustained is still acting. Everything you emit now will become form tomorrow. The field is the silent scribe of your soul and your life, the faithful reading of what it has written. Chapter 8, see the body as a
Hey, y'all, that is part 1 of Living Energy, the book to manipulate vibration. Hey, y'all, that's part 1. We are definitely going to come back within the next couple of days. We're going to come back and we're going to do part 2. That was pretty amazing, if you ask me. That was, I don't even know if I have words for that right there, fam. It's letting you know, though, your thoughts are either going to make you or break you. Now, of course, people don't understand the universe that we live in, invisible matter. People don't understand that your thoughts have weight, they have power. Your words have power. And you are who your vibration is, not what you declare it is, not who you say it is, but who you actually are emitting. Our bodies are receivers as well as senders. It's heavy, y'all. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you're not. Most high willing, we will see y'all tomorrow evening for our Friday evening live stream family. Thank y'all all for being here. I love you all, and I appreciate you all. welcome to any of the newer family members we have in here. I know Yah is Good is one of the newer family members, not to the nation, but on this channel, Yah is Good. We see you. And because you don't have a profile picture, Yah is Good. Yah is Good. Are you a brother or a sister, Yah is Good? Because I see you don't have a picture up there, and I'm not necessarily sure. But it's definitely good to have you in the building, bro. I'm sorry. I mean, fam, I don't know whether you're a brother or a sister, but it's good to have you here. Y'all is good. And yes, y'all is good. And I see we got Tessa Yah up in here. What's going on, Tessa Yah? Tessa Yah says, peace and Baruchings, family. Well, peace and Baruchings to you, Tessa Yah. I definitely subscribed to your channel. I want to say it was earlier today. You definitely got some good stuff over there. I'm definitely going to be tapping in and checking you out, fam. I like what I saw over there, and keep doing your thing. I can tell. And see, here's the thing. This goes for every last one of us out here on this live stream, whether you're watching on the playback. None of us out there are perfect, okay? We're trying to free ourselves from captivity. We know the ultimate captivity will be when the mighty one shows up on the scene. But we're trying to get as close as we can. We're inching our way. And the Most High he has made these heathens. The Most High can either make these heathens go extra hard on us, or he can make them ease up on us. And the Most High has given us a degree of freedom so that we can make our way back to him. And once we get to a certain point, that hammer's going to come all the way down, and it's going to be lights out. And I'm looking forward to that. And I can tell that Tessa Yah definitely wants Tessa Yah definitely wants her enemies to be totally and completely destroyed. And I support that 100%. I feel the same way. I can definitely feel Tessa Yah's spirit. Tessa Yah, you are a zealot. And I say on this channel, there's different degrees of zealotry, but even a so-called level 1 zealot is a zealot. Okay? Everybody on this channel, we're very zealous about the Most High and him only, and turning away from all these devils and idols out here. We sick of all of them because they ain't done nothing but get us in trouble, y'all. But we're starting to figure it out because the Most High is having mercy on us. Yah is Good says, sister. Okay. Shout out to you, Yah is Good. Sister Yah is Good. Aviyah says, Shalom at Tessa Yah. Peace and Baruchings. Tessa Yah says, thank you, brother. You're very welcome, Tessa Yah. Earth Healing Angel says, at Tessa Yah, peace and barakas. I subscribe to your channel as well. That's right. Abiyah says, at Tessa Yah, I subscribed also. That's what I'm talking about. We all we got out here, y'all. We are all we got out here. Tessa Yah says, I support you, brother. Hey, I appreciate that, Tessa Yah. I most definitely do. And I like your channel. And I'm definitely going to be tapping in. I see you got some joints over there. I'm definitely going to be tapping in and checking some of those videos out. I was watching some of the videos when I was at my paid slavery earlier today on my little 5-second break that they give us. I was watching one of your videos, and I was enjoying every bit of it. But y'all, I'm about to get up off of here. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Most High willing, I'll catch y'all tomorrow evening on the live. I'm out. Tessa Yah says, I love your teachings. Hey, Tessa Yah, all praises to the Most High God. I'm telling you, hey, Tessa Yah, sometimes, and all of y'all, I can't even believe sometimes that I'm actually even doing what I'm doing. I cannot believe this sometimes. It literally blows me away because I would have not foreseen this at all. It was not my plan. Literally, it wasn't. I really can't believe it. Every time I sit back and think about it, it literally blows me to smithereens, fam. But you know what? That's why the Most High God is so amazing. The Most High God can do whatever he wants to do. And he can do it when he wants to do it. Tessa says, the Most High called you, brother. Hey, Tessa, that is a very humbling thing for me to hear something like that. And it's actually terrifying to me. And I have the fear of the Most High. I fear the Most High. I'm terrified of him because I understand as I guess I'm starting to have more and more concept with every passing day as a human mind can have as just to how sound confirmation, how larger than life and how larger than everything the Most High God is. And the fact that the Most High God is the one who got me doing this YouTube stuff. Believe it or not, fam. I'll tell you, I know somebody out there gonna say, "No, nigga, you making that up. You capping, nigga. You wanted to do." I'm telling y'all, I had absolutely no idea. You know what? I guess some people out there, you would call me a so-called YouTuber. Mr. Real Talk is a YouTuber. Go figure that. Never in a million years that I think I was gonna be on YouTube reading scriptures and breaking down scriptures and talking about dreams and spiritual power and the Most High God. Like, y'all, I'm telling you, it literally, and when I hear you say something like what you just said, Tessa, y'all, it just reaffirms my fear of the Most High. I'm terrified of the Most High. You know what I'm saying? Because I know how he gets down. And I know he means business. And when he says something, he ain't playing. And I actually heard his voice the same way I'm talking to y'all right now. I think I told y'all about it before. I don't know if everybody on here heard it before. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. But I had a dream before and I heard the audible voice, just like I'm talking to y'all. It was much more terrible and terrifying, of course. Thought I was getting ready to die. I was terrified. I ain't never been that terrified in my life. Why am I saying that again? To let y'all know, I ain't gonna lie, I'm terrified of the Most High God. Because I know there is nowhere to go where he ain't dead. If you alive, he dead. If you dead, he's dead. In the spiritual, invisible world, he's dead. And if you haven't purified yourself and cleansed yourself, you're gonna be in for a bumpy ride. And I'm trying to avoid that bumpy ride. And I'm trying to help my brothers and sisters avoid that bumpy ride as well. Tessa Yah says the veil is coming off and we match teaching. Hey, I feel you, Tessa Yah. I feel you, Tessa Yah. Tessa Yah says, me either. Yeah. Thought you would never be doing what you're doing, right? And then you just look up one day and look at you. Right? Tessa Yah says, he is the glory of all glory. That's right. The mighty one of Jacob, Yahweh, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And you know what? Like we just got finished watching this video, something we all need to be saying to ourselves. We say the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You need to add to that. Whoever is out there watching this, you one of them Hebrews out there, you serve Yahweh only, don't you? So for someone like Tessa Yah could say, the God of Tessa Yah, because the God of Tessa Yah is Yah, the Most High. Abiyah can say the God of Abiyah because she serves Yahweh. Everybody on here can do that, whatever your name is. We need to start internalizing these things and personalizing these things. Yeah, that's the God of Abraham. That's the God of Isaac. That's the God of Jacob. Those are your forefathers. But that's also the God of you. You take yourself and put yourself in there. Personalize that. Look, I know I'm about to start doing that. You think that ain't going? Do you think that that won't help change your vibration? I know it will. Look, anything that you doing out there that is righteous and you doing it in the name of the Most High, Yahweh, of course it's going to raise your vibration. It doesn't have a choice. Tessa Yah says, our forefathers are amazing. And that's called sound confirmation right there, y'all. And look, this is what you would call so-called magic too. We've seen this too many times. Somebody will make a statement that is 100% true, that cannot be debunked, and oftentimes you'll hear a sound in the physical realm. You've been witnessing it the whole time we was watching this, listening to this audio, but as I read that statement that Tessa Yah said, phone started ringing, letting you know that this is true. What she said, our forefathers are amazing. Do you realize they went 10 toes down to get us a blessing today? All facts. All facts. Earth Healing Angel says, did you get a new sound, brother? Laugh out loud. I don't think so. I don't think so. But you know what? I don't know. I got to pay attention the next time whenever my phone rings. We've been getting sound confirmation this whole time, though. We've been listening to this audio book. That joint was going beep, beep. I was getting little alerts here and there. But that's the first time my phone rung during this live stream. And it was definitely sound confirmation. Earth Healing Angel says, was that a car or phone? That was a phone. That was a phone, Earth Healing Angel. Y'all, I cannot make none of this up, fam. Can't make none of this up. What a time to be alive. And I remember, then I'm going to let y'all go. I remember it was months ago, right? I kept on saying to myself, thinking to myself, and I mean, I was thinking it, praying it earnestly in my heart. I was holding it in there because I wanted it so bad. I wanted to see an Old Testament only Hebrew Israelite camp. But to my knowledge, none were around. None existed. I hadn't seen one. And that went on for like months. Sometimes on this channel, I would even mention it. But even when I wouldn't mention it, I would be having that thing in my heart. And then one day I just looked up out of the blue. GOZ, Gates of Zion Israelites. I was like, hey, yo, you got to be kidding me. These brothers are the first Hebrew camp that I ever seen. That there you go again, sound confirmation, letting you know that I'm not lying. It's the first Hebrew camp. Do y'all see how heavy that is, though? That sound confirmation thing is deep, y'all. Cannot make none of this stuff up neither. And that is supernatural stuff right there. Sound confirmation usually, well, it can only be triggered when someone makes a statement that's 100% true. It doesn't do it all the time, but it only does it when somebody makes, that's one of the qualifying actions for sound confirmation to get triggered. Someone must make a statement that is 100% true and cannot be debunked. Oftentimes, you hear that confirmation in the physical realm. Avial says that was the first time I heard that sound from your phone. Oh, wow. Wow. Wow, maybe I'm missing something, y'all. Hey, this is crazy. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Let me see. Tessa Yah says we are about to own the land. Hey, Tessa Yah, I definitely been feeling that in my spirit. That is coming. You ain't lying, Tessa Yah. You are not lying. Tessa Yah says it will be a Yah only earth. Bring it out. Bring it out, Tessa Yah. That's right. Oh, yeah. Tessa Yah, you are 100. Yeah, you are. I love all of y'all in here. I thank y'all for hanging out with your broski. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're not. Let me know. Y'all can drop y'all comments when this thing uploads. Let me know how y'all feel out there. And we will come back soon. And we're going to do part 2, not tonight, but within the next couple of days, y'all, we will come back and we will do part 2. I found that first part to be very, very interesting and informative. Cannot make this up. Most High willing, I'll see y'all tomorrow on the live stream. Peace, fam. I'm out.